Hey everybody, Steve Fredlund here, and this is a video where we're going to look at what are the signs of toxic friendships. We all sort of have those, but how do we identify those? And in full disclosure, I wasn't great at this for many years of my life. I am a very trusting person, probably like a lot of you guys. I always assume people have positive intent. I assume people's motivations are pure, and maybe they are. And I'm just a nice person. And so I let people into my life. I develop these friendships, but they're slowly eating away at my happiness and my fulfillment. So I actually like the term fulfillment more than toxic when we talk about this stuff. Like, what are those relationships where you're feeling unfulfilled rather than toxic? Because toxic sort of means explosive, poisonous material being put into our bodies. And if you're in a situation where you're truly in a toxic relationship that's really bad for your health, get out, get professional help. But this is really talking about those relationships where we feel unfulfilled, but we stay in them day after day, week after week, year after year, and they slowly erode our happiness. So today we're going to look at that. How do we identify those relationships that are leading to unfulfillment? The first thing to be really clear on is that toxic or unfulfilling relationships are different for everybody. We can't just look at a magic formula and what's unfulfilling or toxic for me is the same as for you and vice versa. It's sort of like you know it when you see it, but it's different for everybody. But what we can do is look at sort of the symptoms of these toxic relationships to help us identify which of those is leading us down this road that's ultimately going to steal our joy. After my 50 plus years of living on this planet, I've finally figured out what it is for me, how I can identify these toxic relationships, these toxic friendships in my life. And the number one symptom is that I'm hesitant to share something with somebody. That's the symptom that I'm in a toxic or an unfulfilling relationship. So here are my top 6 hesitations that are symptoms of toxic friendships. Number 1, I'm hesitant to share positive things with somebody. Why would you be hesitant to do that? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with that person? Why do I not want to share this great thing that happened? I got a promotion, or I got a check in the mail that I wasn't expecting, or whatever. Sometimes we're resistant to share that with certain people. Why? Well, maybe they just make it about themselves. Maybe they sort of dismiss it. Maybe they're not excited with us. Whatever that is, try to figure that out. Who are those people that you're sort of hesitant to share positive things with, and why? What's going on there? Number 2, you're hesitant to share negative things. I think the number one reason we're hesitant to do that is because we're afraid that we're going to get judged. So what is it about that friend that makes us resistant to share those negative things that happen? We got a flat tire, or we lost our job, or we had a health issue, whatever that might be. Sometimes we're resistant to share that with some people. Why? What's going on there? Well, it's a symptom of a relationship that's not completely healthy, and we got to get to the bottom of that. Number 3, we're hesitant to share new ideas. Why is that? Well, maybe they're going to zap our excitement. We were excited going into the conversation, but after talking with them, we feel like, I'm not excited anymore, or they've poo-pooed it. Now, there's a difference between that and somebody that's got good logical insight. But sometimes when you're just starting something, you got new ideas, you got fresh ideas, you want to share it with people, and you want people to get excited for you and encourage you. And when you are in toxic friendships, you don't get that. Number 4 is we're hesitant to share our excitement. Maybe we just watched the Minnesota Vikings win a playoff game. Maybe we just finished Ozark or some great TV series. We're all excited about it. And we go to certain friends and they kind of just like, whatever, that's stupid. That's just TV. Sports is stupid. Whatever that might be, they take away our excitement. And so we're hesitant to share with them. That's a sign that that could be an unfulfilling relationship, or at least in that capacity. Number 5, we're hesitant to share our secrets. Maybe they are a gossip. Maybe they can't be trusted. Maybe they don't have a good reaction to our secrets. Maybe they don't encourage us or make us feel good, or any of those sort of things. When we are resistant to share our secrets, that might be a sign of a toxic or an unfulfilling relationship. And number 6, we're hesitant to share our fears. Sometimes we share our fears with the wrong people and they sort of dismiss us. Oh, don't worry about it. Well, that's not really helpful. That's dismissing it. That's not validating my fear. That's not validating my concern. We need to be in relationships where we feel validated about our fears and about our concerns. And so when we have those kinds of people that we know aren't going to give us that, we don't share our fears with them. It might be hard to find somebody that we can totally be vulnerable with, totally be authentic with, totally be transparent with, where we don't have any of these 6 hesitations. But I think it's important to go through these lists and think of those people that you're resistant to share that with and say, what is it about that? And you either accept it for what it is, and you have boundaries on what you share and don't share with certain people, or you become courageous and you have those conversations with people and you say, hey, I was listening to this weird dude on YouTube, the Safari dude. He was talking about hesitations that we might have in relationships. You don't need to say it was toxic, but you say, I'm hesitant to tell you things that I'm excited about, and I'm hesitant to tell you my fears. And here's why. Because in the past, you sort of poo-pooed my excitement and you've not validated my concerns and you've kind of brushed me off there. And I want us to be greater friendships. I want to have a deeper relationship. So let's talk about this. And so you can have that courageous conversation, and that's going to build that vulnerability and authenticity and trust that you need to really have great relationships. So you either just have the boundaries, or you dig in, you have the hard conversations, and you start to have those relationships. But once you've gone through this and you realize, what are those things that I want to be able to share that I can't, that I'm resistant to share because of all of these different things, now you can start to identify what characteristics do you want in those healthiest relationships. And maybe because I'm the Safari dude, I use the peeps in our Jeep analogy because I want life to be this great adventure. I want life to be epic. And it all depends on the peeps in our Jeeps, who we have with us. This exercise can help you determine who maybe you need to push out toward the side of your Jeep a little bit more. Who do you maybe bring in a little bit closer to you to sit next to you in the Jeep? Who do you maybe kick out of the Jeep altogether? Who do you bring into the Jeep? This whole idea of surrounding yourself with the right people is critical. And this idea of who are those toxic people, who are the ones that are bringing poison into the Jeep, who are the ones that are bringing unfulfillment into the Jeep, evaluate this. This is your life, your adventure, your Jeep. You get to choose your peeps. And so I want to encourage you to start to identify those situations, what is actually driving that, and start to surround yourself with the right people by having the right conversations. Thanks for watching this video. I've got a number of videos that I've already released, more that are coming on this whole idea of how do we get the right peeps in our Jeep so that we can have the most epic adventure in our life safari, our work safari, our school safari, relationship safari, whatever that might be. I encourage you to subscribe if you like what you're hearing there, so you'll get notified of new videos. But put in the comments, I want to have dialogue. This whole thing is not me as a talking head. This is a dialogue situation. I'd love to hear, how do you recognize those toxic relationships or those unfulfilling relationships in your life? We can learn from each other. Until next time, Safari Dude out.